Despite what their moms told them, they just aren't talented enough for radio. Unfortunately, anyone can have a show these days. Sean.
Well, I'm pretty hard to figure out sometimes. In fact, I can't even figure myself out sometimes, so don't you try to.
Joe.
You're an idiot and really a disloyal person.
This is the Cuse Militia. Now, those two unapologetically biased, orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
It's the most bullshit thing I've seen in 30 years.
Welcome, orange men and ladies. Happy day. Is it Tuesday? This is the Cuse Militia with Sean and Joe at Cuse Militia on the socials. Go there. Join the militia. Thanks for tuning in, hanging out with us. We appreciate all of you. The Orange turning up in the second half to destroy the Brown Bears. The Brown Bears. 93-62. You'll hear from us, and we'll hear from you in fan feedback. And a quick turnaround.
Brown Bears?
Brown Bears? Quick turnaround for Syracuse as they play Cornell Wednesday, tomorrow, as of right now. Can you hear me okay? It's weird.
Yeah.
I can barely hear me through the headphones. Okay, that's better. Kids must have been in here screwing around with stuff. All right. We'll let you know what we think about that. It's tomorrow. So it's not some kind of deep dive, but it's good to be back. It's good to be back with a basketball game after 16 days of the Orange hiatus and a little filler episode. And, it's just good to be back talking about basketball.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, a win, which is huge. So, I mean, it's not a huge win, but coming back off of that and winning, I think is huge.
And it was an impressive win.
I don't care. Yeah, well, right. I don't care really who it was against. At some level, it doesn't matter to me. So,
right.
A couple football items to hit up real quick before we get into the coach montage, which we will. Juwan Price. So we talked about, in fact, Joe, it was a day after you talked about specifically going into the transfer portal to grab a running back, 5'10", 195 pounds, from New Mexico State. Last year, he was the lead back for New Mexico State, taking 135 carries for 691 yards, 10 touchdowns. He's a third-year redshirt freshman. And they did not play in 2020, and that program did not play. And he was a true freshman in 2019. So it gets kind of funky, Joe, with his eligibility, but I think he's got 2 years remaining.
I think they said 3.
Okay. I was going to say it could be 3, but I thought that was a stretch. But I guess you're right. Because of the 2020 and third-year redshirt freshman would make sense. So 3 makes sense. The COVID rule thing kind of throws it all off. So,
right.
Which, it's just.
Yeah. Well,
nuts.
And this guy, I mean, he makes sense, because we talked about, who's going to come in from the transfer portal and, everyone wants to start. They want to start in spot. Right. But I mean, this guy, he comes from New Mexico State, which is a Division I school, but it's an independent. They went 2-10, didn't have a great season. And, I think that he, based upon the stats and what I'm looking at as far as, a lot of the games they were losing by, and they probably had to pass a lot because they were down. I think he had a pretty good year considering the fact. And with having 3 years left, I think anybody coming in knows pretty much this is going to be Sean Tucker's last year. So he comes in and, he puts himself in probably a good position to be the second string back if he can, acclimate himself, and or unless we get somebody else through this rest of the recruiting period. But either way, with 3 years left, Sean Tucker being the lead dog this year really doesn't affect what he can do in the future. So I think it's a good get, and it helps us with depth and, definitely possibly, on special teams as well. So
he was a big special teams contributor too. So look, Robert Nye, offensive coordinator for Virginia, right? And the quarterback's coach over there as well, Jason Beck. They are both going to join Syracuse, and I don't know if you and I talked about this before it happened, not specifically them, but everything going on with Bronco Mendenhall leaving. Did we mention that, or was that a private conversation?
No, I think we talked about that
Okay.
the last podcast, how we were talking about how there could be a possibility because we were talking about the recruits and how many scholarships we had left, and how Dino was talking about how he was halfway done. And then I had brought up that, we don't even have an offensive coordinator yet. And that had been rumored that, we were looking at them. But, we were talking about basically how leaving some spots open because, these two coaches obviously have recruited players for Virginia and have players in mind. So who knows who they can bring along with us.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. And even if it wasn't these two, any coach from anywhere was a recruiter somewhere as a coordinator and has some guys that probably are interested. So
yeah, absolutely. It'd still be in the ACC. I think it's a good get. Now, I don't know a ton about these guys, but they have they have huge resumes. Okay. And there was excitement from Syracuse fans, but there was also some cynicism from Syracuse fans, and that's typical. But I personally think when you're getting ACC caliber talent to basically come across the aisle and join your program, I think that's a big deal, and I think it's a good get. And I think also too, obviously, Coach knows he's got to throw everything he can at it this year.
Oh yeah, and I think that the athletic director is on the same page, right? I mean, we signed a special teams guy, coordinator that has NFL level
Resume,
experience, and we took care of that situation. And then he got rid of Sterling Gilbert, and he was a quarterback coach and offensive coordinator, and now we bring in an actual offensive coordinator and another guy who's just a quarterback guy. And there was an interesting article at Syracuse.com. I know you don't look at too much stuff, but read it today. And Bronco Mendenhall, who was the coach of Virginia, actually reached out to Dino Babers, and I guess Dino had already been looking at them, but he reached out and said, these two guys are pretty, they're good for this, what you're trying to do, and how you run your team. So there was a little bit of help there as far as friendship and stuff like that, But yeah, like we talked about, and like what I talked about last podcast, these guys have been together 13 through 2016. They were at BYU, coached Taysom Hill, quarterback for the Saints right now. Mm-hmm. And they were offensive coordinator and quarterback coach together. And then they moved. Bronco Mendenhall was the coach at BYU. Then he moved to Virginia, and he moved with them. So these guys have been together coaching for the last 8 years. And Bronco Mendenhall really had nothing but good things to say about these guys and how they can, kind of squeeze every little, piece of potential out of players that, they can, and that they can manipulate their offense to their their skills and their strengths. And I'm excited about the coaching staff because this is finally a situation where I feel like even the athletic director in the school is giving Dino, the potential pieces and the amount of resources in coaching, and money to get those coaches to make him successful, right?
Yeah,
so,
right. Yeah,
I'm excited personally, and I can't wait to see how it goes and see if these guys can't bring in some guys that maybe were interested in Virginia that
I think they're going to be good. They're going to be good. I mean, Jason Beck's going to be good for Garrett Schrader. I mean, that's my hope. Okay, that's an optimistic thought, but I think he's going to be better. And I think they're going to be able to design something that's going to suit him better, and not just, he got just kind of plugged in there this year. And as we talked about ad nauseum, the kind of, waiting 4 games to really get him going, it did nobody any favors. So we're going to get to start fresh. We're going to get to start early in the early announcement too, because the Fenway Bowl was canceled. Along with a number of other bowl games against SMU, between SMU and the Cavaliers, due to COVID issues in the Virginia's program. Let's move on to the coach montage. But before we do that, I want to first talk about the Spotify Green Room. Yes, that's still the Christmas bumper. You get the Christmas bumper, okay, until New Year's comes. Christmas at my house goes from November 1st to December 31st. It's not difficult, okay? Day after Halloween to the rest of the year. That's how I do it, Joe. And I know you hate it, which is why I'm mentioning it. and which is why I do the bumper music. You inspired the bumper music, Joe. And with that said, go over to your iOS or Android stores and download the Spotify Green Room app today. All you need is a username, email address, and a password, and you can set up an account for free in the Spotify Green Room app. Follow us at Cuse Militia and sign up for notifications so you know when we go live. You will get a notification. You can hang out in the green room, chat with us in there via text, or you can request to speak if you request to speak, and I approve it. A little red microphone will be on your icon. Hit that baby and say your piece and get off, okay? So would love to use this thing for fan feedback going forward, as I just cannot stomach social media more and more every time I'm on it. So I know this will never be the cure-all for fan feedback, but if you go there and check it out, download it. It's free. It's really easy to use, and it's a lot of fun. So go there today. Appreciate you. All right. So, Joe, a game that looked like it coulda, woulda, maybe, probably not though, slipped through the cracks. Let's hear what Coach had to say after the game.
Overall we missed time, but I thought tonight we came out offensively very sharp, hit some threes early, and then we had a lull defensively and didn't cover some shooters, and we didn't rebound again in the first half. We've been emphasizing that in practice. I thought the second half we did a better job on the boards, much better. Kept the ball in the middle a little bit better in the second half with our defense, a little switch. Ran some plays for Buddy and Joe right away, and they got open and, open shots, and they knocked them down. But, again, we've got a long ways to go defensively. I think there was some progress there, but we've still got a long way to go, and, not all that much time to do it.
Jim, Barama was able to come in and play a few minutes at the end, I guess. What's kind of his update as far as the injuries going, and how much do you expect him to kind of contribute going forward?
He's just barely started to practice. I want to give him a couple minutes in there. His strength isn't. He's healthy, but his strength, he hasn't done anything in almost a year and a half now. So it's, I think it'll take him at least a couple weeks before he can get his legs under him to really be able to be a factor.
Hey, Jim, you guys shot lights out in the second half, and considering that you guys haven't been playing that well offensively in the second half in your recent stretch of games, what is your impression of that?
Well, we got the same shot. I mean, we got good shots, and we made them. Some of the games that we didn't shoot well, the defenses were really, really good against us, and, we just didn't make shots against them. We keep getting good shots. We're certainly capable of making them. And again, we got some really good looks to start the second half, and we made them. We're a good shooting team. We missed 9 free throws in the first half, and that's just it's all mental. Jesse had a bad game in the Garden. He's all mental now. He's shooting a little different every time he gets out there. And Cole's a really good shooter. Jimmy's a really good shooter. Those guys, they're too good to go for 4. They're just too good. And we can't miss 9 free throws. I mean, we didn't play great in the first half, but we make 6 of those 9. We're up 12 against a pretty solid team. These are the things that are inexcusable, and, we can't do them and be successful.
We saw a lot of Frank, Benny, and Symir tonight. What did you think of them, and how important are they going to be over this?
Well, I'm trying to get him in there. Benny's, he's got a 6'3" guy playing him. He's taking fadeaway jump shots, and then at the end he finally went to the basket and got a layup. He's got to get better there. Defensively, he's still learning. I thought Symir was good, did a lot of good things tonight. Frank has been pretty consistent, doing pretty good things every game. So I think that, again, those 2 guys are going to be important as we move forward. And Benny he's got to get better.
All right, Joe, let's start at the top as we always do. Look, they came out, they developed a 10-point lead very quick. and it looked like it was going to be done pretty early. A 6-point lead going into the half. Some lazy defense maybe to
21 to 7.
Off.
We were up 21 to 7.
Okay.
At
right,
one
so
point.
14.
And
That's right. 14.
32 to 38. We were
Right,
at
at the
6-point
half.
lead going into half. Yep.
So the second half, they come out. They're on fire. Kept the ball out of the middle, as Coach said. Shooting lights out. And playing, as Coach mentioned, and rightfully so, that not the typical type of defense that we would struggle against. The shot a lot of clean, open looks, and just a team that just couldn't hang with Syracuse's shooting and ball movement, for lack of better words. You had Samir Torrance with 7 assists, Joe Girard with 7 assists. I mean, that's how you got to play ball. I mean, that's how you can beat those other defenses too. Unfortunately, they tend to get, when they face these real aggressive Ds, they tend to struggle a little bit, as we know, and they don't move the ball as good. They do a lot of hero ball, a lot of one-on-one stuff, and that's where they become unsuccessful.
Well, and there's a reason for that, because these guys are playing tough man-to-man, and they're switching, and it's very difficult for you to get open. So you just got to get a lot more effort with, off the ball screens and moving without the ball and certain things like that. So, teams like Brown, you can penetrate, you can make some moves and get past them, which again is going to draw, other opponents or defenders towards you, which just means somebody's open. And all you got to do is really make the right pass. So, they did what they had to do, and they shot pretty impressively. Offense looked good. I wish the free throw shooting was a little bit better, but yeah, that's really the difference is when they play against really, really good defensive in-your-face teams, we struggle to get open. So that's why a lot of times you just see a lot of one-on-one, because we really can't have as many assists and move the ball like we normally do. So obviously that's something that we need to work on as far as offense goes. I mean, we have guys that can shoot, but can you get open to shoot? Or are you just going to stand around when someone's got the ball? So
yeah, they struggle to even get clean looks and like you said, move the ball, and it's just a struggle. This 16 days hiatus didn't help much. What they just started practicing on Thursday, right? We saw Sidibe out there, which was fantastic, and I hope to see him more and hope he gets his legs under him. But as Coach said, he's barely started practice. He's not close to ready. It's been, Coach said, a year and a half, but I mean, I feel like he's played like one game in almost 2 years.
It was like North Carolina, yeah.
Yeah. So, we remember how he finished that 2019 season, and we were just so looking forward to seeing Sidibe come back. Remember, heading into that game against Louisville in the ACC tournament, and here we are. It feels like 10 years ago, and it's just. It's good to see him back out there and kind of doing his thing. But, as long as he's practicing, I guess, he'll get better, and we'll see how that progresses from there. So
yeah, I mean, he came in kind of when it was like walk-on time.
Oh,
which again, that was like one of the things I liked about this game. I mean, we shot the lights out minus our free throws and played good defense, especially in the second half. We picked it up. So it felt like an old time. This is what a Syracuse game should look like against a non-conference opponent like this, where we get to see 2 or 3 minutes of, the walk-ons. But that's where Brahma came in, and he got a huge ovation because he came in, in that sub when Buddy came out. So they were cheering for Buddy, and then they were cheering for him coming out. And
Buddy with his 28-point extravaganza.
But again, that just tells me, they're getting him out there, and they're probably getting him out there to see how he feels and everything like that after just getting a couple minutes and everything like that. But again, hasn't practiced. It's his knees, so he can't do cardio. And judging when he came in the game, I mean, he's a long ways away from coming in to the game when the game is on the line. Frank is.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Frank has definitely got the number 2 locked up. Jesse's got the number 1 locked up. I mean, we see that depth chart, and I mean, I don't know how much, and really you can just hope that his knees hold up enough to where he can get strong enough and get the stamina up enough to where maybe you get to the end of the year and maybe you can be a little bit more aggressive on that defensive end, bring CDB in and try to be a rim protector, and you got an extra 5 fouls. But I mean, that's best case scenario right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Joe mentioned it like 3 times because he just can't wait to get down to the list on the montage. So the free throw shooting was horrible. We all saw it 10 for 20, just really bad. And your best free throw shooter was Gerard at 3 for 5, which is, not great. And even Buddy was only 4 for 6. So I'm sorry, Cole was 3 for 3. What was I looking at? So
no, Cole was 3 for 3 for 3-pointers.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. So here we go. Normally I print this thing out and I highlight what is important. Well, I forgot it. I printed it out at work and I forgot it. And so I'm looking at the computer and I'm getting all screwed up. But yeah, you're right. So it was Jimmy actually 3 for 5 from the line. Yeah. So, and Cole was 0 for 2, who's usually pretty clutch. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, he's pretty clutch.
Throughout and that was funny too, because it's just weird because I know he came back and hit a 3 afterwards, but he went up to the line, and that Dan Friday from the Brown, they were chirping back and forth, and I know Cole said something, and then he went on to miss the 2 free throws. So I'm thinking to myself, like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
Because I know that he was sitting there and they were chirping, and it's like when you're chirping, you want to make them, and you missed, and I'm like, oh god. Is he going to make another shot this game? But then he came back and hit another 3. But still, we definitely got to get better on that end for sure. And honestly, too, I thought the fouls were a little weird too. 17-8, like we only had 8 fouls the whole game. I mean, I like that the refs let him play, but I just thought that was weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird, but in a game like this where we're shooting the percentage we're shooting from 2s and 3s. And then we have that big of a foul discrepancy. Shooting 10 for 20. I mean, I'd like to think it's just an anomaly, and it doesn't matter in this game. So it doesn't, and they lost the whistle at the end too. I mean, they're just like, all right, this game's over. So they let some stuff go at the end too. But yeah. I mean, I get it, but whatever. Bench players, Joe. We talked about coming into the Lehigh game, what would have been the Lehigh game. The importance of getting these bench players out on the floor, getting them some minutes, and not only that, but getting the experience as a team for those 2 extra games at home before we were going to play Georgia Tech, which we are not going to play. That is going to be postponed, and we are going to play Virginia instead. We're going to skip that. We're going to play Cornell instead of Georgia Tech, then we're going to play Virginia. So we talked about that, and this is kind of what I was thinking during the COVID pause. Like, this sucks. We really needed these 2 games, but we ended up getting 2 games back, which is good. It's kind of no harm, no foul to a certain extent.
Now we just got to make up the Georgia Tech game.
Right, but that's down the road, and I don't even know. I was looking. I don't even know when you would do it. We're gonna have 3 games in 5 days right now, and the guys need it. Like Coach said, I don't know if it was in the montage, but the guys need it. They're ready to play. They want to play. But Benny Williams with 17 minutes, Cy with 17 minutes, and Anselm with 11 minutes. Anselm he's just so consistent, and he's good enough for me to say he's so consistent. But I think he can be better. Symir, I mean, just like I mentioned, 7 assists. That's excellent. 1 for 2 from behind the arc. I think he's going to be good. He's going to be integral along with Frank down the stretch. And Benny, obviously, kind of treading water right now, Joe, and not really improving a whole lot. But he can. He's just doing things that, like Coach said, fadeaway jumpers and stuff. He's just doing things that he shouldn't yet.
Right. Well, I think, and again, too, these guys, I mean, we don't need them for their offense. Whatever they get us for offense, is just a plus. But the difference here is, between these 3 guys is you see Frank Anselm and Symir, they come out and they're playing with energy. They're high energy. They're go, playing a little reckless even sometimes, especially on the defensive end. And I think a little of that is because they know that they're not, relied on to score points. So, Symir Torrance, they made some mistakes. They made some bad rotations on defense and everything like that. But between Frank and Symir, they didn't have a turnover. Didn't score that much. I mean, Symir hit, 1 out of 2 threes, and Frank hit 2 out of 4 free throws. So they didn't take a lot of shots. But with Symir, with the 7 assists, and with the Frank coming in 5 rebounds in 11 minutes, like That's stuff that helps, and you see Benny was 17, and he had 6 points, 3 of 6, but only 2 rebounds. He had 2 turnovers, and it's just one of those things where it still just seems like he's thinking too much. And, I just want to see somebody that comes out and is just reckless, like I'm just going to make defensive plays, and just like the other guys. Whatever you get on offense is a plus. But right now, he needs to be able to go out there, and he needs to be able to earn his minutes on defense and be able to be confident in his rotations and just go out there and make plays. Don't let guys get easy layups. Don't let them. You have 5 fouls. So even if you make a bad rotation and this isn't, go up and try to block them hard and, give them, a tough physical foul. Nothing crazy.
Yeah, find out where the whistle's at.
Right. And, that's the type of physicality and energy that Benny needs to bring. They talked about how some of his answers were wise above his years as far as, leaving and, how they're handling your minutes and all that stuff because you're a 5-star. And he understands all that. But when he gets on the court, it just seems sometimes like he's still trying to figure it out. And once he figures it out, I think that he's going to be a hell of a player. But right now, I think we're too worried about trying to get him shots and all this other stuff and make him look like a 5-star instead of just having him come out and just play with energy off the bench like Anselm and Torrance is with not, a lot of expectations. Sometimes expectations makes players not play that well. So I think there's a lot of that's going on. But those 3 players, those are our guys. Those are our bench players. And, we need those guys when it comes down to tough ACC games and to go deep in some tournaments, whether it's your conference tournament or later on in the season. So they need to figure it out one way or another, but that's what I would like to see Benny do. And it's just what the other guys are doing. Just play hard, hustle. The mistakes are going to come, but, just learn from it and just play hard. Like sometimes he just looks lost and he's just kind of out there and, you got to do something.
Yeah. And, there's so much pressure to score because, that's where a lot of times
high recruited guy, right?
That's where a lot of games are won. You want to be flashy. You want to make that shot. You want to get the crowd going. But to your point, we don't need him to do that. We need him to be good on defense, and we need all these guys to be good on defense.
Athleticism,
Samir,
offensive rebounds, that's what I expect.
Rebounds, and you got Samir, who would be nice to. We need his ball handling skills, I think, a little bit.
Benny Williams, 6'9", jumps out of the gym, 17 minutes. You only got me 2 rebounds.
Yeah, we've seen how high he can get. You remember that one block? I don't remember who it was against, but his hands was above the backboard.
Confidence, just go for it.
Yeah, and that's what you're talking about. Just do it. Find out where the whistle is and keep your toe right on the edge of that freaking line on defense. That's what you do. So, and that's where we need him. So, that's how it goes.
I guarantee you a hustle play that's a hard foul to come back after he misses maybe a rotation or something with a little bit of energy might not get him benched. But him not going up and trying to stop that and kind of feeling like he's lost in between 2 different players and where he's supposed to be, that's going to get you pulled real quick. So
right.
Even when you make mistakes, you gotta show that effort,
Yep. All right, it's time to hear from you.
It's time to hear from you, the loud mouths from the Loud House.
You guys know what to do at the end of every game. I ask for your thoughts on said game. Go there, leave the thoughts. We will, or I will, read them. I'll pick some. We'll talk about them here just to create a little conversation. Don't forget to go over to your iOS or Android store, download the app. We'll talk about that in a second. But first, let's do some from fan feedback. I didn't get a whole lot. And I can't tell if it's because everybody hates us or if it's because it was just a slow night on Twitter. I think it was a slow night on Twitter. I don't know. Who knows?
It's Brown too, and we killed him. Who knows? You never know.
Yeah. So look, okay. Let's start with. I was gonna start with Facebook, but I'm gonna do this one quick because we haven't mentioned it, and I'm so glad Joe didn't go off the rails on it prematurely, as he is known to do with certain things we talk about during fan feedback or the coach montage. At Cuse Waterboy. Look, a basketball game broke out during a golf tournament, judging by the noise. Look, this was pathetic. It wasn't even pathetic. It was pathetic. It was so bad. My wife had actually said, it sounds like we are watching golf. If I was to close my eyes and I didn't know there was a basketball game, I would swear we were watching golf, which we don't even do because it's agonizing. And I'll probably get hate mail for that too. Because I know, Joe, we watch golf, don't you?
I mean, at a certain point in the sports season, on a Sunday, last day, if it's close, then maybe I'll watch it. I don't watch golf like that, no.
Okay, but all jokes aside, obvious small crowd at the Dome, and you can only point, to my opinion, to the COVID rule stuff. You can say, it's just Brown. Now you could say, it's a Monday night. But I'm sorry. No food, no beer, test this, test that, prove this, prove that. I'm sorry. I think it's that. And I think people are like, you know what? I'll just watch it on TV.
Well, and you never know, too, because sometimes there's confusion with, the
rules?
Season ticket holders, right? So you get your tickets and you get them mailed to you, and they're already pre-this and they're pre-that, they're dated and all that stuff. Like, you never really know how the university handled all that, right? Because Brown, realistically, they weren't even on the schedule in the beginning. So I really don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm just throwing it out. I'm being devil's advocate and throwing different little reasons why possibly there could have been some confusion and why people didn't go. So
I've bought tickets, obviously through Syracuse, their box office or whatever, and I relentlessly get emails. You would think that would be covered if you have season tickets. That would be covered in an email, and if it wasn't, then that's also on Syracuse.
Well, and if anybody's listening and you know the answer, then let us know. Hit us up.
Yeah.
I'd love to know.
Absolutely. So, hold on a second. Let's see real quick. Oh, thought we had a speaker in here. No, guys? No? Okay. But yes, as David says, smallest regular season crowd since ? I don't know, but it was small. Just to piggyback on what Tony was saying.
Since last year.
But well, you can't count last year, Joe. Good one. Touche. But good to get a win. Good to get an actual game played for that matter. Nice to see Barama on the court, and glad that the bench got some playing time thanks to the eventual blowout. Hot start to the second half. Yeah, what was Buddy, dude? What did Buddy score? Like 10
28.
points? No. 10 points in 3 minutes or something like that?
Oh, yeah.
It was something.
It was something ridiculous.
It was something stupid like that. But yeah, look, I was just happy to see him out there. And I think the broadcasters talked about it too, as far as like a guy like Joe Girard, who just feeds. I mean, you could see his energy. It just feeds off the crowd. Like, he's that guy.
Yeah,
he's that guy that needs the crowd, and in the big crowds, little crowds, all of these things affect players differently, and it's Joe's one of the ones I think that it could be dramatically affected by it, because I just think he just thrives off of that. And he still played really good, but when we talk about last year, what could have been, should have been at the Dome, we'll never know, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah, and this is a team, too, Brown. I mean, they played – I mean, we didn't get to do a preview with them, so they're a better team than Lehigh. They played a game earlier this year at North Carolina and only lost by 94-87 at North Carolina, right? Second game of the season. They played Colorado to a 2-point game, lost 54-52. So this is a team that has a good record. First in the Ivy, well, I don't know if everyone's first in the Ivy League. They haven't played, but either way, they're a good team in the Ivy League. Ivy League, I think, is a little underrated, and it was definitely a step up from Lehigh. And based upon how this went and how the whole game went, and getting guys in there, getting our bench, 17 minutes each. Anselm got 11, and then getting even walk-ons in there and some walk-ons scoring, getting some points.
Chaz Owens getting in there, getting in on the action.
Yeah, Lavelle made that nice little
that was beautiful.
Layup.
Yes.
That was awesome.
Fall
right?
into the ground, yeah.
Right. So, that's everything that you wanted as a Syracuse fan coming off of this COVID break and playing against Brown. I think you saw it yesterday. Exactly what it was. Starters played good. Bench players got minutes, blew them out. And then the walk-ons came in, and they even scored some points. That's a classic non-conference, just Syracuse drubbing at home.
Yeah, absolutely. And oh no, hold on a second. Did I lose the room? Oh, I didn't. Okay, we're here. We're back. Crisis averted. By the way, should be mentioned is at Cuse Waterboy texted me before the show. Dominic here in the green room mentions this as well. John Madden, all-time great. Love John Madden. I knew him more as a broadcaster than I did the coach of the Raiders. Obviously, it wasn't that damn old. But Art Shell was the coach when I first became a Raiders fan. But obviously, an icon, a legend in the NFL, passed away today. And that's terribly sad. But he did very good for a really long time. My first book report I ever did in school was on John Madden. And the only thing I remember from that book report is he was terrified of planes. That's why he took the bus everywhere, the coach. So that's all I remember. Anthony says, tickets are all digital now. Don't think they even mail season tickets.
Okay.
Unless super rich seats. So like box seats, I assume, maybe something like that. If you have a smartphone or follow anything Syracuse, you get plenty of reminders when there's a game. Google Calendars automatically updates the schedule with changes.
Yeah.
YouTube.
It makes sense. If it's digital, I'm sure that they have a situation where they can change date, opponent, all that stuff. Time.
So, okay.
Answers my question. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Anthony. If that is your real name. Let's see what is next on here. Hold on, I gotta switch screens here. Working off this broken ass phone. Oh, top fan Zach on Facebook. Our boy Zach. Free throw percentage was pretty troubling. I'm going to be that guy. On a positive note, Brown was a great addition to the schedule. They're a decent team. Let's keep the momentum. A decent team. They gave UNC fits too, by the way. I mean, I know you heard the broadcasters talk about it, but I did check out their ESPN stats and stuff like that before the game. Unfortunately, we didn't get here to talk about it because of the holidays. It was running a little close, right? So we didn't get to do a preview or anything like that.
Which is what I previously mentioned.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yes, I did.
Oh, so you talked about it?
Just talked about this, yes.
Did you?
About how Brown played against North Carolina and Colorado close.
So we covered
they're
this.
not that bad of a team. Yep, absolutely.
Okay, all right, good. Glad I was paying attention.
At the same time, the free throws, like I said, I mean, we've been rather good at free throws this year. So when it comes to a game where we won by 31, I'm not gonna care about the fact that we only went 10 for 20.
I mean, I disagree. I would disagree with that, though.
Why?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter for this game. But I mean,
isn't that all that matters? If it's not, if it's not, it hasn't been great. But it hasn't been a trend.
It hasn't been
not a trend. Then what do you mean it hasn't been great?
I mean, it's been okay. But that's my thing. Well, you need to hit foul shots to be. This team is not good enough to win games like this without hitting foul shots, Joe. It's not
games like this or games against.
Games against ACC opponents. They're not. I just don't think they have it in them yet to stand up to withstand an onslaught like that without hitting your free throws.
Which is why I'm saying that. I mean, I guess I need to see a trend before I start freaking out. If they do the same thing against Cornell, then I might say something.
Fair enough. Now, I didn't say it was a freak out moment, but fair enough. Agree to disagree. Gerard on Facebook. Bernie still looks lost out there. Or Benny. Benny. Yes. Mm-hmm. Benny.
He does.
He looks lost.
We talked about that.
Yes, we did. Wait, hold on. I got two more. Like I said, it was a little weak out there. Smash the team they should smash. Doesn't really say much. Well, I mean, I would disagree with that too. I mean, they should have won, yeah, but did you see him winning by 31, Joe?
No.
When you looked up Brown on your own time, and you're like,
spread at Vegas was 9.
Okay.
9.5.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Smash the team they should smash. I don't know about that. I mean, they played tremendous for coming off of a 16-game COVID pause and getting to the gym, on Christmas Eve, right?
Yeah. I mean, other than, because again, how high the expectations are for how high of a recruit Benny is. Like I said, I don't think it always translates. And I think he's going to be perfectly fine come down the future and everything. But other than that, I mean, you couldn't ask for anything more last night if you're a Syracuse fan.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was like you said, like you mentioned, it was a good point. It's kind of the old school feel. At who was that, by the way? That was A Cuff 1007. At Clancy Cuse, good to see the gang back out there. Good finish in the second half. We need to get this defense ready for ACC. Yeah, I mean, that's been my biggest problem so far. That's been everybody's biggest problem, I think. And, Benny needs to be a part of that. Benny needs to get better. These guys on the bench need to get better. What was the Syracuse bench averaging on offense? 6 points or something like that coming into this game?
Something like that.
I mean, the COVID pause didn't help, but I'm telling you, I really think that these two games, they make up for, I'd say 80% of it. The only thing we lost was a lot of practice, right?
Right.
And I'm just glad that we were able to stick Brown in there and reschedule Cornell so quickly because of Georgia Tech. I would rather go into Cornell and play them first before we start ACC play. But we will talk about Cornell, Joe. Any final thoughts on the Brown game? I didn't think so.
No.
All right. Look, one more time, if you want to get in on some of the action during the show, go over to your iOS or Android stores. Go to the Spotify Green Room app. It's free. Download that thing. Get a username and email address and a password. It's all it takes to sign up, and you're in. Follow us for notifications at Cuse Militia, and you will know and get notified when we go live. You don't have to just follow us either. You can do your own thing, and you can sign up for recordings of your segment at the beginning of each segment before you go live. And you click that little thing, and when your segment ends, they will email you the file. You can take that file and upload it onto any podcast platform. You can do your own freaking podcast right from this app. It's really, really good. And maybe you hook up some equipment to it. Maybe you just do it right off your phone with some headphones. But either way, it can be done, and it's free. That's the best thing. So everybody loves free stuff. So go to your iOS or Android stores today, download the app. Okay, Joe, where are we at? We're doing something with Cornell. This game's tomorrow. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it, but we'll do our normal shindig thing here. The all-time series between Syracuse and Cornell sits at 93-31 in favor of Syracuse. They are currently on a 40-game win streak against Jimmy Boeheim's old team. In fact, the last time they met, I did not look this stat up, but I think Jimmy Boeheim, so correct me if I'm wrong, Jimmy Boeheim scored 25 points. That was a game high, I believe. But the Orange went on to win that game 72-53, and that was in November 20th, 2019, really early in the season. Your starting lineup for that game was Gerard, Boeheim, Sidibe, Dolezaj, and Hughes. Hughes with 22 points for the Orange. And, Cornell, they did beat Colgate. They beat Colgate by 10. So, for what it's worth. Losses to Penn State and Virginia Tech. They lost to Virginia Tech pretty handily. They sit at 8-2. And not too shabby of a team. I mean, you heard Coach, I don't know if I put it in there, but it was during the press conference. Coach did mention, not a terrible team. Wins over Binghamton, Lafayette, Colgate, as I mentioned, Wells, St. Francis, Canisius, Coppin State, and Cayuga. So, for what it's worth. Still 8-2 though, and not terrible. But you got to imagine, Jimmy hopefully going to be feeling it. Hopefully he's feeling it a little bit more than Swider was when Swider played his old team, Villanova, a few weeks ago. So, Joe, what you thinking? What are you thinking about Big Red, Joe?
Well, I'm thinking Big Red is kind of a lot like Colgate.
That's great.
Yeah. Well, and I guess that's really where it comes out. I don't know if they're as big down low, which is maybe where we can get them. And obviously we're later on in the season. We played Colgate before we went through our, onslaught of, non-conference schedules against a bunch of Power 5 teams that are possible tournament teams. So, I think we're a different team now than before. But, when you look at Cornell, they have a situation where, I looked at their 8-2, their schedule. Now, like you said, you mentioned their losses. Their wins haven't been really against anybody too great, but at the end of the day, they've had 7 different high scores in 10 games. They have 10 players that average over 10 minutes a game. So you have a team that, is willing to sub out and kind of change who's in there to try to figure stuff out. And on top of that, too, you have a situation where, you consider us to have, like we're a pretty good, like, three-point shooting, not a good three-point shooting team, but, like, we shoot a lot of threes, you think, right? Like, on average, we probably shoot more threes than normal teams, right? Like, as far as Syracuse.
You would think so. It's kind of our niche, right?
A little bit, right? I think we've been a little bit better this year, but, we don't want to rely on it, right? But we've played 11 games, and we've shot 252 three-pointers. Cornell's played 10 games, one less game, and has shot 291 three-pointers.
Yeah, and they shoot a clip very close to ours. We're at 38%. They're at 37.8.
Yeah, they got a lot of guys that shoot a lot of threes, and again, like I said, don't have crazy big guys, but Kobe Dixon, a senior, 6'9" forward, he leads the team in rebounds, assists, and blocks. And Jordan Jones leads the team in points. He's a 6'5" forward. He leads the team with 13 points. So that just kind of tells you how they spread the wealth and everything like that. So they're a smart team. They're going to move the ball around. And they're going to shoot a bunch of threes. So really what we need to do is we need to be able to neutralize, down low, spread our defense out, and make sure that we take away their 3-point shots and, force them to come down and shoot and make shots inside. That's what the 2-3 zone does, right? We either force a bad 3-point shooting team into lulling them into threes, or we try to get a good 3-point shooting team into coming down low with the trees and trying to make shots down there. So like I said, Kobe Dixon, he's 6'9". They got another guy that comes off the bench, 6'9", Keller Boothby, and he shoots actually 57.4% from the 3-point line. So I don't think he's shot too many this year. Actually, he's made 27 out of 47. So that's pretty good. So when you look at that, they got a couple guys that can do, big guys that can step out and shoot threes. So we definitely have to be weary and hopefully, like I said, they don't make shots like Colgate does. The good thing about this team is that I don't think they're going to be able to handle us as far as defensive wise. So as long as we can keep our offensive kind of mojo going off of what we did the other night, then I think we're going to be fine. But we definitely are going to need to guard this 3-point line and can't take this team for granted. And I'm sure Jimmy Boeheim, coming from Cornell, he's going to tell everybody on the team that same exact thing.
Yeah, they're pretty decent. So
yeah, they're a pretty decent team, and they're around Brown, and they beat Cornell. So if you sleep on them, then they can kind of smack you in the face a little bit like Colgate did. But again, I think we're a different team. And also, too, I think Jimmy is kind of chomping at the bits to get to Cornell. And I think there's going to be a little bit of extra energy in the air, so to speak, playing against these guys.
Let's just put things into a little bit of perspective. And I've already eaten my words on this, okay? The Colgate game, it was embarrassing at the time, but it has just gotten more and more embarrassing. And
yes.
They're sitting at 4-9, okay? Wins over Northeastern, Polytechnic, Syracuse, and Columbia, guys, okay? Losses to Vermont, Monmouth, St. John's, Pitts, Niagara, Harvard, NC State, and Cornell. So to put things into perspective, Cornell beating Colgate just because they beat us, not exactly...
Look, Colgate had like a Lemoyne type night.
Yes,
against our 2-3 zone.
Yes. What'd they hit? 33s or something like that?
Yeah, it was something ridiculous. They 31. Put up 100 points on us. It was ridiculous. And at the end of the day, if we don't make the tournament, that's going to be the game.
Yeah,
sorry.
Absolutely.
I don't want to be that guy now.
Well, I didn't want you to be that guy on November 21st when we did the show, but it looks that way. So, they only scored 97 on Polytechnic. So whatever. I'm not. So I'm the only reason I bring that up is because they're like, oh, they beat Colgate. It was not a big deal. Everybody's beating Colgate except for us.
Right.
And Polytechnic, or whoever the hell that is. Okay, that's gonna be it. I think. Look, we're in a conundrum, Joe. So hold on. Yeah. We're in a conundrum, aren't we? We have a problem.
Why?
We have a problem. Well, first of all, I want to get Tyler on. I want to get Tyler on when there's not like a whole lot of SU stuff going on. I just want to have some fun.
Yeah.
Because we have good conversations, and we've always talked about recording these, and we never do.
Yeah.
Partly because we just never do. And I think we should. Yeah. I think we should do them and ties down. So I want to do that. And we were going to plan on doing that, but 3 games in 5 days, it's kind of going to push that off. So Tyler's going to be flexible with us. We're just going to have to play that one by ear. But we've got a game. Hold on a second. We've got a game, and I'm not trying to
I think it's Saturday, right?
Fill space here, but we've got a game against Cornell tomorrow, okay? To some of you, it's today. Then we got Saturday, January 1st.
Home against Virginia.
But the December 29th game will obviously be played. The post game should be on the 30th. So I guess we can swing that. I guess I can swing that.
Yeah, it's up to you, buddy.
I've got a lot. The problem is I've got a lot going on, and we are going to try to get here. But I think we can swing it. I think we can do all 3, and then do a Sunday again before we talk about Miami on Wednesday, as long as that goes. And the other thing, too, is expect more, pauses. I mean, every team's going to probably have to pause once. That's how I look at this.
That's kind of how I'm looking at it, too.
Yeah, every team's going to have to pause at least once. And it's just on where we land in that schedule, on our schedule, lining up with whatever said team. So, anyways, we should be good. It's going to be a little bit of a gauntlet. We did one podcast in 16 days. It's not great. It's kind of sucks. So, and then you do 3 in a week, and it's like boom, boom, boom. You get pounded. So, anyways, we appreciate all of you for hanging out with us. We really do, and all of you who are still hanging out with us. That is. Enough can't be said for you guys, and we really appreciate you. So, with that said, I think that's going to do it for us this episode. But like I said, we'll be back here Thursday. Right, Joe? Thursday.
Yes,
I'm confusing myself. All right. So we'll see you Thursday. Go Cuse. Beat Cornell. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out of here.
Peace.